Hello, everybody, and welcome to today's Dynamics 365 Tech Talk. Today's topic is Finance in M365 Copilot. My name is Lutz Eichenberg, and I will be your moderator today. We are broadcasting this session through Microsoft Teams, and this session is being recorded on behalf of Microsoft Corporation. When you join this event, your name and email address may be viewable by session organizers. By joining, you're agreeing to this experience. If you do not consent to be a part of a recorded session, please disconnect your line. The recording will be made available in the TechTalks Community Dynamics page in the upcoming weeks. If you have questions, please use the chat panel on the right side of your screen. Thank you for your patience during these announcements. Thank you for joining today's Tech Talk, Finance in M365 Copilot. Presenting for us today from Microsoft, we have the following colleagues. Russell Hercules, Principal Product Manager, and Haitham Saeed, Senior Program Manager. Russell, over to you to get us started.
Thank you. Good day, everyone. So today we are happy to present to you. Our goal is to give you an update on the Finance in M365 Copilot product offering. I'll share a little bit of context regarding our current state of the product, and then we will hand over to Haitham to spend most of the time in a live demo. And then we will try to wrap up with enough time for some Q&A. So as a refresher, for those of you that may be new to the product, essentially in the last 2 years, our mission has been quite clear. We recognize that the majority of finance professionals still remain bogged down in operational tasks, and less than 15% of them believe that they have the ability to look forward to see risks before they materialize. And one of the ways that we try to solve this problem essentially is by meeting these users in the flow of work in the core tools that they use within M365. In this case, you will see examples in Excel, but we have other goals in other services in M365, and we also have an add-in in Outlook. So on October 10th, we moved from public preview to general availability. We are now part of the M365 Copilot license entitlement. And with that, the financial reconciliation capabilities, both the assistive, the autonomous agent, and the capabilities in Copilot Studio, all of which will be demoed today by Haitham, are all generally available. Our variance analysis, data preparation, and our tools and customer communications are all in public preview. So when we think about the opportunity to solve finance professionals' needs in the flow of work, the core use cases that we've been heavily focused on have been in the areas of reconciliation and variance analysis, supported by the customer communications and the data preparation tool, as customers typically need that as a prerequisite step before they can take the actions that you see on the screen. Now, our financial reconciliation tool and variance analysis tool distinguish themselves in the sense that they're very horizontal. Many use cases apply. We are not specifically tailored towards any single use case. For us, we think it's important that customers across different scenarios evaluate the effectiveness of reconciliation, because we recognize they may have several tools in their tool belt, right? We've seen customers who have Blackline and other leading competitors in that space. They still use Excel, they still use Power BI, but Excel remains undefeated for many use cases, and we think that that's a good canvas as a starting point. As you then graduate to the point where you want to automate this reconciliation and then move into more sophisticated scenarios where that level of automation includes a lot of the exciting stuff that Haitham is going to share with you today. Along the way, we've had some success with customers in a lot of different verticals. So most recently, we had a success case published with Wilmot Dixon. We also see some success with Capitec and Genpact, and even Modern Finance, our internal finance organization. They were early adopters of the tool, and We are seeing a lot of growth with them in the last couple of quarters as they ramp up across multiple divisions, looking at use cases from tax to treasury. One of the things I want to call out is for us, we see the wide variance of opportunities here across a number of different use cases. If we move just before we move to the demo, a couple things I wanted to share. We've had most recently some examples. I've been working with customers to integrate not just on the D365 side, but also in competing ERPs like Oracle, right? So we've got a customer who is pulling data from a data factory, ingesting it in Copilot Studio, and then integrating with a supply chain tool, and then running reconciliation on an automated basis. I have other customers who are working on reconciliations with D365 as a system of record, and then along with another system to handle fixed assets reconciliation. We're seeing scenarios where customers are looking at building solutions where the trigger for the ingestion of files is coming from an inbox. So from Outlook, they're looking at AP files being ingested and then integrating with D365 Finance for their reconciliation on the other side. So I think, what we're seeing as a signal is that the scenarios are broad. Customers' willingness to go deep on the integrations is pretty surprising, and we're seeing use cases that I think are relatively easy to stand up. Right? Once we get to the patterns that Haytham shares with you today, hopefully they spark some ideas and you see some opportunities to accelerate these core scenarios. With that, I want to give Haytham ample time, and then we'll be able to take some questions, and I'll try to monitor the Q&A.
Thanks, Russell. And I think I realized that building like a custom agent, a complex custom agent, is less challenging than trying to finish all my demos in the time. So I'm going to try to finish everything and share everything with you guys. So let's get started. So I'm going to jump directly in the product. So let me get my screens ready here. So we have just released 3 Dynamics Bytes videos with a detailed walkthrough. So I'm not going to go through all the details, but I just want to make sure that everybody's aligned how easy and how quickly we can get started. So first thing first, if I would open my Excel, I will find the M365 Copilot and the finance in M365 Copilot. And basically, the easiest way to get started is just go to the add-in store, search for finance, add it, you're good to go. There is some capabilities to unleash the full potentials. There is a couple of steps that you need to do to be able to go more in the automation, like saving templates, create AI actions, as that we will see that very shortly. And to do that, all you need to do is just go to Copilot Studio and then go to your home page. You will click on See More, and then basically you will find the M365 Finance. Once you install it, it's going to do all the job for you. It's going to install the agent, going to install the related files in Dataverse, because you will need some sort of a repository to save your templates. And the next step, once the installation completes, which takes 10 to 15 minutes, you would need to go to your environment in Dataverse. And for F&O customers, if you deploy any F&O environment from LCS, you will automatically get a Dataverse environment linked to it. So you can reuse it because there is zero impact of installing the finance app on it. And it's completely like separate. And from a storage cost perspective, it's almost negligible because it's just going to be a bunch of references on, templates and stuff. It's not really like saving data. It's just very basic. And make sure that you would have for your user the basic user role permission. In addition to that, we supply a Copilot for Finance Administrator and a Copilot for Finance Professional. Both of them can be assigned to the user typically I would go with finance professional, but if you want a user to see others template, not data, and other AI actions, you can simply think of it as a workaround of sharing templates and AI actions. So this is the requirements that you need. And once this is done, now you need to go to your Excel. And once you click on the sidecar for the first time, you will be asked to log in to an environment. And here you will see the environment, Dataverse environment that you are connected to. From a capabilities perspective, you will see the following: financial data preparation, reconciliation, variance analysis, your template library, which contain all the templates created by you or other users depending on your permissions, and then the AI actions, which is the agents that will take up for the automation. So I'm going to start first with the variance analysis scenarios, then we will go through the financial data preparation, reconciliation, and I think there is a surprise at the end on how to create a custom agent with connecting directly to FNO, so stay tuned for that. And you can do the same exact steps that I will do. So basically, I'm just going to go and create a blank workbook here, open my finance agent, and for the variance analysis scenario, I'm just going to basically click preview sample data and variance analysis. What will happen if you click any of those two data sets? There will be two demo data sets loaded for you. Just you can play with it, test it, and just feel free to do whatever you want on the data. So what I have here, I am tasked as an analyst in Northwind Traders, and I have a couple of criteria that I want to analyze my data based on. So for example, if there is any events where my forecasts are greater than the actuals, so means there is a negative variance, or if I want to analyze any kind of positive variance to see where I am performing well for a specific threshold. So what you see here is a pivot table that has my sales actuals, my sales forecasts across the year for specific states. And this pivot table is built upon my single data source, which you will see here. I have my states, some basically like companies, and then some solution areas, since this is a software company. And underneath this, like there is some financial figures, most importantly, my sales and my budget sales in specific markets. So all of these are dimensions. And one way I can think of that, if you have tools like business performance analytics, business performance planning, any EPM, or even if you have Fabric and you have semantic data models and facts and dimensions, this is the best way to pull on all these data because it's facts at the end and calculated metrics. So now I have my data, and to see the structure of the pivot table, it's basically I have my state, my sales, and my budget sales, and my month. And now I want to start running my variance analysis. So I'm going to click on variance analysis. The first thing that is required is I need to have a pivot table when I run this for the first time. So I'm going to expand my parameters, and now I'm defining my criteria. So I can say, show me the negative variance in December. And in the parameter, I can say include market and market size. And if you see that market and market size are actually a reference column here in my source data. So this means I am instructing the agent, no matter what the results are, make sure to include, if there is any dependencies on those, I can put exclude. So any analysis will not come with these parameters. I can say something like focus only on, which means the results will be only focused on my parameters. So now, happy with the results, I'm just going to click submit. And as a first step, this is pure math. This is not AI. This is deterministic calculation. So basically, the agent was able to identify where are the instant where it meets my criteria. And it will give me the amount, which is the subtraction of those values, and it's going to give me the percentage while highlighting where is the occurrence. Before starting the analysis, I might need to add or define a new criteria. There is some prompt suggestions here. So I can use, for example, show per period variance exceeding, let's say, 30%. And now I would have another identification highlighted for all the variances that I have with the amount. So now the second step would be, let's go and analyze those. So I'm going to click on Analyze. And in these multiple variances, you can either analyze one at a time, or you can basically just click Analyze All. And now you will see that in the first analysis, I have an overview that my sales in December, where this value and this is the budget and these are the variances. And then the main contributors of this shortfall are these areas. And it's also focusing on the parameters that I added. And then it will drill down in each and every attribute, as you can see. And the next step would be, if this is a collaborative task with some of my colleagues, I can edit this analysis and ask, for example, Russell, please add your thoughts. Then I can save and I can publish as a comment. And what you will see here, that if this is a collaborative living document, I can go to review and then show my comments, and then we can start working on this. In addition to that, I can start building my variance report. So I'm going to click Include in Variance Report. I'm going to do the same here. And each and every one, I can either add it to the variance report or I can include all. Once I have all my analysis, we support up to 5 criteria of analysis and 20 variants identified. If I am good to go, I can basically click Generate Summary, and now the AI will review all of my findings based on my criteria and my data, and will generate executive summary report that I can use and share with my stakeholders. So this is the report generated. So you will have your overview, your key findings, detailed breakdown, and then it's going to give you some actionable insights, and then a detailed of each and every criteria. So that's the first step. If I would look at these analysis, I will see here that product analysis, product type, the financial software representing 56%. And since I know my data well, I know that the financial software would have multiple products underneath it. So which product is exactly the culprit here? Based on my data and the lowest level of details, I have another layer of analysis that I can go to. So if I click on one reference, this is going to be your main data sources. And once we ship the ability of having multiple data sources, you will start seeing them here. But now you will see that this is your data source, and you can click on this Create Pivot, and look what happens now. All of the identified parameters here will the agent will create basically 5 or 3 or 4 pivot tables, and will create the data related to Illinois in December for the product type identified. So now we can go back here, edit our analysis, and select my new pivot table. I want to go to my product type. And since I know exactly what I want to look for, I can basically click select. So I'm just going to select my actuals and my forecast, and I'm going to confirm and analyze. So now you will see that from a product perspective, this guy here contributed for the majority of the variance for the financial software product type. And then type analysis is the sales channel. And I can include this in my report, and I can go and regenerate the summary so I can add this analysis as well. So that concludes the variance analysis scenario. And additional thing that you can do, once you define your criteria here, you can save as a template. So assume that you have multiple criteria, you save them as a template. So next time you want to run your variance analysis, you can basically select your template, and it's going to preload for you automatically your criteria. And how we can automate this? By creating an AI action. So look at now, there is a template selected. And now if you click on this button, it's going to preload your template and ask you for a data source. Data source, this means that you will require a SharePoint site that can either use your shared document library, or if you do have a specific library. So in my case, this is my library, and I have created this folder structure, and I'm going to create here a new folder. I'm going to call it VA. So that's my folder. And I'm going to go back to my Excel, select my site, select my library, select my folder structure, and I want to add VA. So now this is added. Event or schedule. Event means files are uploaded to SharePoint. So I'm just going to click event. I'm going to add my email address. And then I'm going to click create and activate. It's going to ask me for permissions. And once everything is set, I'm just going to click give permission. So what is happening in the background? The agent will go in the SharePoint and will create 3 folders for me as follows. Just don't want to wait for this. One of them will be called source. One of them will be called process and output. So if the agent detects a file in the source, then it's going to execute. So all I need to do is basically, once I saved this as a template, all I need is to have my raw demo data. So I saved this in an Excel file like this. And this file contains only the main data source. And then all I need to go do is go to my SharePoint, bring my file, and upload this. How you can move this file to this folder with Power Automate, sky's the limit. You can automate this however you want, but basically for now, in less than a minute or two, the agent will pick up the file, look at my template, execute the files, and send me an email similar to this guy here with my overview, my key findings, and then it's going to supply you with a link to the actual report, which will be saved in this folder once it is executed. So that's how you can automate this. And the key takeaway here, you will need a pivot table for the first time. Once you create your template and you will use an AI action, all you need to do is basically just paste the file without the need of doing the template, the pivot table again. Just ensure that the same file structure is the same. And here, if you notice that once the agent pick up the files, it's going to always empty this folder. It's going to add it to the processed folder, and the output will be here. And then basically I will receive an email saying that, hey, this is your report and this is your summary. So that concludes the variance analysis. I'm going to move on now to the reconciliation and data preparation. Please, if you have any question, ask it in the chat or at the end of the session. So in my second scenario, moving on to the reconciliation, basically, as Russell mentioned, don't focus on specific reconciliation type. Think about it more wider. So if I do have any two data sources with some matching keys that already exist or you can create, finance agent reconciliation will be the way to go. So here in my scenario, I have two data sets. One of them is basically my customer payments exported, and I want to reconcile using the voucher, transaction type, and date with my bank general ledger. Key thing to notice here, my voucher doesn't have a dash. My amounts are in positive, while my payments, the voucher have a dash, and my amounts are in negative. And if you export any payments, customer payments from the majority of the ERPs to Excel, the exported data will be negative. So it will never match. And here comes the financial data preparation to help you in tweaking the data and put it into formatting that can be used for reconciliation. Or I saw so many customers leveraging this in data migration validations, lots of scenarios. So I'm going to click on financial data preparation. The first thing that is required that you need the data to be in table format. So if you have a source data that is not in table format, you can basically just format it as a table from Excel and you should be good to go. So now you will describe what exactly do you want. So here I have a prompt that I'm going to paste. And before I paste this, based on the column name, it gives you some examples that you can use. You can format the date, you can remove leading and trailing spaces, you can remove dashes, you can do pretty much a lot of things. So I'm going to paste here, and what I'm saying is remove any rows where the invoice column and voucher is empty. So basically remove those empty lines, but ensure that I have no amounts here. Remove the dash from the voucher, and then convert all my amounts to absolute values. In addition to that, maybe for other validation, I want to create a new column called euro, copy the amount and then convert them using this rate and format them to 2 decimal places, remove my special characters from here, and basically any empty field here, fill it with payment. So now I'm happy with the result. I'm going to click submit plan. So now the agent is translating my English language to an action plan that will be executed on my data to be able to do the reconciliation. So here is the plan. And you can add instructions. You can delete, you can edit and submit. But now if you're happy with the results, I will click apply. So the first thing you will see that your data original sheet will be intact, and we will generate a new sheet for you. And now all my data are transformed. So no dash, everything is filled, amounts in positive, and then basically no special characters and my new column. And you will have a trace of what is happening. You can save this as a template. And then basically the next time you want to run this, if this is a recurring, all you need to do is select your template and it will preload everything for you. So now you're done with the data preparation and you want to run the reconciliation. So basically I'm going to click on financial reconciliation. Since I have so many sheets, the agent undeterministically select 2 of them. So I'm just going to use my bank ledger and I'm going to use my prepared one as the new sheet. And as you can see, it will always ask you for a table. And the next step, based on my data, the agent will start suggesting my reconciliation rules. I can accept, discard, regenerate. This is undeterministic, so each time they may change. So I'm going to click accept. I need my voucher, that's fine. My date, I don't really need my currency. I can add additional mapping. So I want to add my transaction type here. So I'm just going to basically type, and select this from my bank trans. And I'm going to use the other type, which is this guy. So now I'm good to go. I can add a couple of fields here, just basically to make sure that I have useful information in my reporting. They will not be considered in the reconciliation rule. And I'm going to just click reconcile. So now I have my reconciliation report. You will have always 3 categories: unmatched transactions, potentially matched, and by default collapsed 837 exactly matched transactions with no actions that I need to do. So a couple of things to note. If I look at the potentially matched, everything is almost the same. Even I don't have any difference, but why they are in the potentially matched. And if I look at the unmatched transactions, I will see that I have here a $1 difference. Might be currency revaluation, might be different postings, many reasons. And I have same voucher, same amount, same date, but the description is a little bit different. Very useful, very normal in when you have multiple systems for subledger and ledger, maybe multiple kind of manual, entries, systems like expense, mobile, when you type the descriptions manually, this can happen. And then this doesn't make sense that to be appearing in the unmatched. The only thing that makes sense to me that I have one payment that is not in my ledger. And this is the one that is worth investigation. So let's see how we can tweak these to make sure I have my most realistic results. And at the end, you will see here that there is an insights that you can basically append to your summary report. So you would have a full report. So now I'm going to go back to my matching keys. On my date, I can add a tolerance in case I have multiple posting dates, credit card versus banks, and this can be very helpful. You can add a range of date on a date field. Also, on my type, since I have payment and payment to bank, they are subset of each other, I can apply a modifier which we call partial matching. So I'm going to apply partial matching on my longer description, which is my transaction type, and click Save. And on my monetary key, I can add a $1 tolerance if my organization has a policy that allows those thresholds. And basically, I can add additional monetary if I have an amount and a tax, or I can even remove the monetary if I'm just doing validation. So now I'm done with these. In my report parameters, I will enable the detailed report view. I'm going to click reconcile. And now let's look at the results. So now I have way more realistic results. So now my only payment that is not in the subledger, that is not, posted. And when I looked at my F&O environment, it seems that this payment is posted against a payroll bank account. So no really action for me, but I was able to pinpoint this information instantly. And then look now, all the tweaks that we did. So now here you will see that your payment and payment to bank now completely matching, and they will appear in the potentially matched. Your $1 tolerance will be here, so you will still see the difference financially, but they will appear in the potentially matched. And with the report parameter option that I toggle, now I have two payments that is aggregating to one lump sum in the GL, similarly to these. So now I have my realistic report, and let's see how we can automate this. So basically saving as a template, same drill, and this template this time will basically save the parameters that you have done. So if I click select template, sorry, that was different one. Let me select this guy. So now it has loaded all my parameters and I'm ready to go. Second step, automation. And now we are talking about the out of the box automation. So I'm just going to click the same drill. Bytes, select my template, go to my SharePoint folder, and I'm going to select my recon and do the same exactly. And if I go to my SharePoint, you will see that underneath recon, I have the 3 folders, and I'm going to go to my source folder. And now what this requires that you have your 2 sheets. So that's your first data source. That is your second data source. You need to save them on 2 separate Excel files. So in the assistive mode from Excel, it's 1 workbook, 2 sheets. And the agent automated mode, you need 2 files. So basically that's what I did. I have my subledger file and I have my GL file. And again, all I need to do is basically put them here. And in less than a minute, you should receive an email, something like this. So you would have your reconciliation report is ready. you will have your summary, and then a link to the report, which is same drill, pulling it from here. So autonomous, I don't even need to be in Excel. I will just put my source files, and then I will get all the details on my email. And in case I want to review the file, I can just basically click on the link on the email, and I will have my report ready. So that concludes the templates, data preparation, and reconciliation for what we ship out of the box, which was in generally available. And now I think that this is going to be the most exciting part. See how we can create a custom agent, and then how to pull data directly from FNO without even being in Excel. So these use cases are very useful if you have the data in Excel, if you have one source in Excel and you need to pull the other data, or you prefer to use Excel. So this will be the requirement. So now, again, same drill, files disappeared, and then you receive the email, and then you should be good to go. How we can start with the custom agent? So we will provide you with this link, and this link will have a solution here that you can download as a starting point, and then you can start creating what fits your business. And when I say creating, you can do pretty much what you want. So I'm just going to move quickly here to give you a couple of scenarios. So out of the box reconciliation, you put the files in SharePoint, the agent will pick up those information, get your template, read the source file, run the reconciliation, generate and save the report, and email you the results. For the custom agent, it's totally different. Still, what we ship or what we will support you with is basically same thing. Read template details, execute reconciliation, but you will be able to tweak what would be your data sources. Is it a file in inbox versus FNO? Is it two FNO? Is it FNO in another ERP? Again, anything you can do, as long as there is a connector, you can do it. And the most important and exciting part here is that you can send a notification on Teams, not really an email, and you can create an action to do like a specific entry or do any action that you want. And when the concept, if for MCPs, like the model contextual protocols will be available, you can basically call them and they will create anything for you in FNO, BPA, whatever you want. So a couple of things to think of. You can, one of the sources, you can use DMF. You can create a flow that will create and execute a data export project, and then save this project into a SharePoint folder where you can pull the URL, extract the files, put them in a CSV, run the reconciliation, send you the report, something like that. All you need to do is get the exported package URL, supply the execution ID, or you can be like literally start the everything from flow. Generate the export, get the status of execution, pull in the execution ID, pass it, extract it to folder, and then the agent will pick up, run the reconciliation, send you the results. You can use the OData, as we will see today. So any kind of FNO connectors, you can still use it. Something like this. And finally, if you use virtual entities, you can use virtual entities. And when MCPs become available, you will be able to use MCPs. So now let's look on how things will look like. So I'm going to go to my Copilot Studio, and this is going to be my agents. And once I have downloaded the solution and imported, it's an unmanaged solution, so you will be able to customize it. So it will look like this. And the most important flow here is this guy, which is called Perform Reconciliation from FinOps. So I'm going to go to my agents. This is my custom reconciliation agent. And let's do a quick test. So basically, the agent will ask, do you have a template ID? Just to ensure that all the parameters and all the field settings is going to be fixed. So you need to get a template ID. Who's going to be your email? And then it's going to ask you for SharePoint site and so on and so forth. So let's see and try to test this and see how this will work. So basically what I'm going to say, reconciled with template ID. So now the agent will start asking you, please provide your SharePoint address where you want to save generated file. So my SharePoint address will be this guy here. And then the next step will be, what is your folder path? So my folder path is basically agents, which is this guy here. So now you have the agent have all the relevant information. And what is happening behind the scene is basically the following. Once the agent get the information, it will initialize and respond to Copilot, and then go and based on your entities and options, it will go pull in the data. So in my case, I am reconciling between my sales invoice headers and my custom invoice journal. And these are OData entities. If you have a custom published public entity, you can use it. And it will convert those data on the fly, perform the reconciliation, save the report, send you an email, post a card in the channel. So basically, if I would go here, I should see my reconciliation report is ready. I can click on open the report, open this guy. And in the meantime, I have my reconciliation report. This is my sales invoice headers. This is my custom invoice journal. Everything is matching. Everything looks good. And in addition to that, I also have received my email telling me that I have completed your report and everything should be good to go. So I didn't even go to Excel. No data is required. It's just go directly, connect to your data source, perform the actions, and you should be good to go. So that concludes the custom agent part. Some additional resources we will be sharing as well. There is a Viva Engage group that we would like to have you join. Some announcements, the public documentations, and I'm going to add as well where you can download the custom agent package and a couple of additional information. Please, we would like to have your opinion, feedback. This is very valuable for us, where we can improve.
Thank you very much, Russell and Haitham. This concludes today's Tech Talk event. On the slide, as well in the Q&A, you see a link to a short survey. We'd love to hear your feedback on today's session and what you would like to see in future events. As a reminder, the recording along with the deck will be made available on the Dynamics Tech Talk community site and the Microsoft Dynamics 365 community YouTube channel in the upcoming weeks. It usually takes around 2 weeks. And thank you for attending, and thanks to our presenters and to you, our audience, for attending our Tech Talk today. We hope you have a great rest of your day ahead, and thank you very much.
Thank you for joining, folks. Appreciate it.
Thank you.